What's up? Welcome to another episode of Rebel Nerd Radio. Today or tonight, we're at where are we at? We are at episode something. I don't know. It's over 200. I know that.
203.
Is it 203?
I believe.
Yep. Today is
I believe.
203. 203, and we are concluding our Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we will be talking about the Return of the King. But aside from that, we will also have some Rebel Nerd news.
And there's a lot of it, people. There's a lot of it. Holy crap, there's a lot.
We are going to be showing our thingies. And then we'll get to talking about the Return of the King. At least one of us will show our thingy. I don't have a thingy to show today.
What the hell?
Unfortunately, I got no money. What am I going to buy?
Well, good news is I have two thingies.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that.
Don't be mad.
Well, just the idea of you having two is a little disturbing. All right. Well, who do we got in the chat room with us so far today? We have Spencer. He says it's the Return of the Dingus. We have Steve Spawn, also known as Steve number 2 in the Discord chat. And returning for the second week in a row, we have White Rabbit.
Nice. Keep us honest. Keep us honest about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. And there is Smirking Bear. Good to see you folks in the chat. I'm sure some more will float in at some point in time. But yeah. So what have you been up to this week? What has been going on in your life this week?
Well, I worked Sunday. That was interesting. We're trying to rack up some overtime before our storm season hits and replacing old poles. So unfortunately, I had to work on Sunday.
Storm season is coming.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, JD and I live in Tornado Alley.
Mm-hmm.
So March through, what is it, about late May? It's kind of rough.
Last year it started late. It didn't start till I think May, and then it went pretty much all summer. So yeah, which is interesting. I'm kind of worried because I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be in Japan for the late part of April, which is usually like not peak, but it's like the beginning of it. So we usually get a few. So I'm a little concerned about being out of town while storm season is going on and not being around my house and just kind of hoping that something doesn't come wipe it out. So we'll see.
Is all of your Star Wars merchandise insured?
Yes. Okay. It very much is. And as I've stated before, I know this, don't judge me, people, but I've stated this before. If something does happen to it and it gets wiped out, well, let's just say that my collection is going to be a lot smaller because I'm not going to attempt to do this again. It'll probably be remanded to a lightsaber collection after that, and that will probably be the
yeah.
That'll probably be the extent of my collection. Will be lightsabers after that because it would be very hard to find everything that I have and try to restore that. And so, and honestly, it takes up a lot of room. I love my collection. I really do. I hope nothing happens to it. But if something ever was to happen to it, i.e. tornadoes, fire, you name it, you would probably not see that again. You would probably not see this again.
I thought you were at a soccer practice.
Yeah. Thought you were watching a kid's soccer game, buddy.
I see
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah. So yeah. So other than that, yeah, no, it's been pretty dry week. Like I said, a lot of work. We're trying to get geared up and get things changed out for storm season and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of work. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to check out the latest season of Sea of Thieves yet, but I'm hoping here in the next couple of days to get a chance to do that. For those of you or any of you who are Sea of Thieves players, there's a new season out that has new megalodons to play and stuff like that.
New
And there,
megalodons.
yeah, new megs in the game that you have to fight back against and keep off your ship and stuff. And yeah, so yeah, a lot of that going on. So how about you, Steve?
Oh, it's been a week. So, if you aren't aware, I had been unemployed for a long time. Been unemployed since very early November. In fact, I was laid off the day after Election Day. So, been unemployed for a while. But I got tired of being on unemployment, so I just started applying for everything
Mm-hmm.
and did get a job. Let's just leave it at that. So I started working Wednesday. So last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So been working and I have not been at home. I'm actually working in a building rather than working at my home office, which I've been doing for like the last 5 years. So that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So it's a job. Let's just leave it that. Um, so still trying to get
Hopefully,
used
hopefully,
to.
hopefully, it's just a stepping stone to like better things.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
um, I'm still trying to get used to the fact that I have to leave and then come back, and like the fact that I have to be away. I It's not. I'm not doing any kind of manual labor or anything, but for some reason, I'm just exhausted when I get home.
Hmm.
So I haven't been doing a
How
whole
long?
lot.
How long? So how long did you work from home of the previous job?
I've been working from home for like 5 years.
Okay. So just having to
But
do that commute and going to the building and the
yeah,
stress
and
of
it's
not
not
being
that
at
long
home.
of a commute. So that's a positive thing. The commute is it only takes me like 5 minutes to get there.
Oh,
It's
nice.
crazy. It's really close. So that's good. But it just my motivation to do anything like play video games or anything like that just kind
Hmm.
of
Yep. That's
so I
that's
haven't
been
played
my
any video games this week.
that's my thing
um
is that normally like when we work 8 hour days, it seems like that I have lots more time in the evenings to do stuff. So I have time to play with my dad. I have time to play with other people, friends of mine, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
And with us working tens and
you
trying to
are
get
correct,
stuff taken.
rabbit.
Yeah, mental exhaustion. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And
um
so yeah, it seems like I have more time now. We're supposed to be ending tens probably middle of next
Isaac,
month. Hey, Isaac. And
what,
so
what do you mean, Steve? Steve says that one of us is not giving a strong endorsement. Strong endorsement for what? I don't know, Shane.
but so yeah, I'm 100% ready to be back to 8 hour days and just no, I mean me saying 40 hour weeks and normal 8 hour days is like a rare thing because we hardly ever just get a
Yeah.
40 hour week. But
So,
yeah, especially
yeah.
with
So this job, I mean, right now it is 8 hour days and it's Monday through Friday. However, and this is something I need to talk to the viewing public about anyway.
Mhm.
Once training is over, which training is like it's like 10 weeks. So once training is over, I will be working 4 10-hour shifts. And remember last week I was saying that there's a possibility we would have to move the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If the schedule that I saw that I'm going to be on after training is legitimate, we will not have to do that because I will actually have Tuesday off.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So I'll be working 4 10s and I will have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday off. So working Sunday is going to be kind of a pain. Joy, how's it going?
Hey, Joy.
Yeah,
mental
no, I
exhaustion.
haven't
Yeah,
played
mental
video games.
exhaustion. Mental
I have
exhaustion
been,
is definitely a thing.
yeah, I've been playing video games. I have been doing a lot of comic book reading. I haven't kind of slowed down on that any.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching. Um, there's a Star Trek show that I never finished, and it's Discovery. I don't know if you've heard of that one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I am not done with that one. So I've been kind of binging, but still kind of chilling. Let me think. What else? What else have I done? Sunday, we Spencer and I did another episode of the Comic Den, and we talked about the Red Hulk. Ubaldo, haven't seen you in a
Hey,
while, man. Where have
Ubaldo.
you been?
He's been hiding from us.
So yeah, we did that. We did that Sunday, and yeah, and that was my week. Later this week, we will be doing another episode. We'll get to that when we get talking about Patreon. We'll wait for that. We got something coming up this week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that has been my week. And that brings us to Rebel Nerd News. Woohoo! I need to
Just a
get some music
disclaimer.
behind that.
Just a disclaimer before we get started, people. You better strap in because there's a lot of it.
Strap in. There is a lot.
There is a lot.
There is some Star Wars news, which I'm going to save until the last.
Yep.
But let's dig in. And there was a lot of comic book news.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Marvel has announced that there is going to be another X-Men team. According to the article that comes from CBR.com, they will be called 3K X-Men, and they will debut in the May issue of X-Men, which is number 16. Yeah, I need to watch that too, Joy. I'm gonna finish Discovery though. Anyway, so Jed McKay, who is the series writer, is going to be writing it, which I don't know why that's part of the news. We already know he's writing X-Men. But yeah, there's an organization called 3K, which includes Cassandra Nova, and this organization has been producing New Mutants. I haven't been keeping up with X-Men because it's one of the comic books that did not survive the downsize when I got laid off. But I might, oh man, I don't know. I may have to pick that up again and see what's going on, because this looks interesting. So new X-Men team, fun stuff. Also in Marvel has announced that the Captain America series is getting a new writer. Actually, it sounds like Captain America is getting a new series because starting off with a new number 1 that is going to start in July. It's going to launch in July, and the writer of this new series will be none other than Chip Zdarsky, who is most well known for writing, among others, Daredevil, Avengers, and currently just finished his run of Batman. So, if you haven't read anything by Chip Zdarsky, I highly recommend it. He is a great writer, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with Captain America. All right, some Marvel movie news. And so take this with a grain of salt, because
there may or
I
may not be a
feel
lot
like
of that
the
going
way
around.
I feel like the way this article is written, it sounds like a rumor. The rumor is that the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 4, which does star Tom Holland, is going to be a soft reboot. Kevin Feige has been very tight-lipped about it. But it sounds like Marvel and Sony are getting together and trying to reshape the franchise. According to the article, there will be a new supporting cast. They're including Peter will have a new love interest, so it will not be MJ. According to the article, Zendaya will be in the movie, but her involvement will be limited. No news about who the villain will be. But yeah, so like I said, take that with a grain of salt. Next Spider-Man 4 might be a soft reboot.
Kind of. I mean, I don't know. That means, I mean, I don't know. Would you call that a soft reboot? Because if you go from where they left it in No Way Home, nobody, I mean, Aunt May's gone.
Yeah.
Nobody knows him. Everybody who knew anything about him is forgotten him. So Happy doesn't know anything about him. MJ doesn't know anything about him. His friends don't know anything. They've forgotten who Peter Parker was. So in a lot of ways, I mean, it could potentially be a reboot because now they've got a clean slate to kind of go to advance it however they want, because like you said, a new love interest, but Zendaya will be portrayed, but he, may find somebody new that he, or whatever, maybe the Gwen Stacy of his universe will manifest or something to that effect.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then,
That would make it pretty interesting to bring Gwen Stacy
I
in.
have heard that because of the events of um Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and the blip scene where Venom actually shows up in his universe and drops off a piece of himself, that the black suit and Venom version of Spider-Man will be part of it. So who knows?
It's possible. Yeah, very
Yeah,
possible.
so who knows? So who knows? I mean, they still know Spider-Man exists, they just don't know who he is, and nobody knows who Peter Parker is. So it'll be very interesting to see. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call that a soft reboot, but it could be a complete directional change in the storyline that they had before, because now it could pretty much go anywhere they want it to.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Now, will he be a part of the Avengers again? Will he be featured as an Avenger? I hope so.
Well, I did read something earlier this week that he will be in Avengers Doomsday.
Cool. So then,
So
it'll be
that,
it'll be Spider-Man probably featured as in the Avengers, but they won't know who he is. or
right.
or he'll show up to help or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Now, see, I
Um,
don't know. I don't know that Bear. I don't know that Gwen will make an appearance. All I know is that, I mean, we've seen MJ before. We've seen Gwen Stacy in other movies before. Now, but we'll see if she
I,
shows back up.
I think it
You
would.
know,
I think it would make more sense to have Gwen come in,
or would
but
they?
that's not up to you or I. So
Well, or even the possibility of like throwing this way. I mean, this could come way out of left field. But is there a possibility that we could see maybe like a Spider Girl love interest type thing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Potentially, maybe, possibly.
I don't know.
I don't know. Too early to tell. We don't know enough. So we'll just have to wait and see. Right now, it's speculate. Like Steve said, it's speculation and rumor. So take it however you want.
Yeah. Okay, so some more Marvel comic news that will allow us to segue into some DC news. DC and Marvel have announced that they will be publishing a crossover event this year. They don't generally do crossovers that often. And the last time I remember them doing a crossover, actually, there's two times I remember them doing a crossover. They did a DC versus Marvel back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a JLA versus the Avengers. And I don't remember when they did that. But this was announced at Retailer Conference Comics Pro. The editors-in-chief announced that they are teaming up to publish a joint comic. It will take place, the crossover will take place over 2 one-shots. The one-shots will be titled Marvel/DC and DC/Marvel. So that will be later this year. We don't have a release date. And all other details are pretty tight-lipped. Yeah, Spencer. It was a mini-series. I mean, both of them were mini-series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
The one I liked about it is when they actually did cross platform or cross characters. So like they combined Batman and Wolverine. That was freaking
okay,
cool.
like an amalgamation type thing.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
combined Superman and Captain America, which was freaking cool. And so they
So
had a bunch of different characters, even villains that they crossed
I
with each
remember
other.
that. I remember what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
JLA versus Avengers was 2003 to 2004, and I'm trying to find the date of the DC versus Marvel crossover. That was 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hey, by the way, Taco Cat is in the chat and Tina has
yeah,
showed up in the
I
chat
was
as
about to
well.
say that, but I
You
didn't
about
want
to say,
to.
okay.
I didn't want to break up my momentum here.
I got you.
Yeah,
I wanted
Taco
to say
Cat
hi
is
to them
here.
before
How's
they
it
got too
going,
far
Taco
in there.
Cat?
Hey, Taco Cat.
And then Tina is now with us, so welcome back,
Hey, Tina.
Good to
Hey,
have you.
everybody.
But yes,
Sorry to interrupt.
Spencer. It was called amalgam. I think you got it pronounced or spelled wrong, but
Amalgam.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting a DC Marvel crossover later this year in the comic books.
Awesome.
So to segue into DC Studios has announced there are going to be 3 new animated series. This was announced by co-chairs James Gunn and Peter Safran. 3 animated series are on the way. The first one is titled My Adventures with Green Lantern and will follow Jessica Cruz, who will be portrayed as a high school student in this and have a Green Lantern ring drop in her life.
Interesting.
Second one is Starfire, and it will follow the famous Teen Titan Starfire in the first days after she leaves Temeran. So I don't think Starfire has ever had a solo animated series, but yeah, cool stuff.
Hmm.
The third one will be titled Superpowers and will be set at the Alliance School for Heroes and will focus on new students Aquagirl, Flash, Green Lantern, Lightning, Plastic Man, and Terra as they learn everything they need to know from Principal Martian Manhunter. No release dates have been announced as of yet for these series. Yeah, those sound fun.
Why does that sound like Xavier's School for the Gifted kind of plot line
Yeah, I
type of
get
thing?
that.
You know what I mean? it's what
Yeah,
it's what it kind of reads like. I mean, from what the description that you gave.
yeah. It sounds fun though. Also from DC Studios, and also announced from James Gunn and Peter Safran, we have some updates on the upcoming DC film and TV slate. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, got a production update. So Supergirl was in the plans to be a movie, but it was planned to be further down the road. But and this is actually old news that I'm talking about right now. When James Gunn read the script, he was like, "Yeah, this has to be the next movie in the series after the Superman one." But so we've already gotten some news about this. The filming has already been it's already been filming. We got some news that Jason Momoa is going to appear as Lobo. We got a release date of June 26, 2026. And then, so James Gunn recently announced that they are midway through production. So that's crazy that they're already halfway through
With Supergirl?
on Supergirl. Yeah, on filming. On filming.
That's crazy because they're still trying to wrap up everything for the Superman movie that's coming out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of post production.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Another movie update, Clayface. Release date is set for September 11th, 2026. And that's supposed to be a kind of a horror type film. That'll be interesting. Update on the Batman 2. Final script has not been turned in yet, but production is set to begin at the end of this year. And they are still, what's the word I'm looking for? They are still confident is the word I'm looking for. They're still confident that it will be able to meet its October 1st, 2027 release date.
I wasn't sure what word you were looking for, so there's no way I could help.
Yeah, I know. I can't help me with that one. DC TV updates. Lanterns is currently filming and will premiere in early 2026. So lots of updates in DC. So let's see what Spencer's got some thoughts on this. Is an approach of having a bunch of unique stories. How do you feel about that approach versus Marvel, where they're not necessarily focused on leading up to? See, now here's the thing, Spencer. I read something earlier today that they are planning on doing some sort of company-wide event, but everything's pretty much hush-hush on that. Yes, Taco Cat, I was getting to that. Thank you very much. Still in my thunder. Also, James Gunn has announced there is going to be a live action Teen Titans movie, and I'm pretty excited about that too. Very little news about that. It's very new news, let's put it that way. But yeah, that's looking forward to that. It'll be some good stuff. Okay, moving away from DC Marvel comic book stuff. Reading this article, it feels like this isn't really news, but this is the first time I'm hearing about it. Barbie director Greta Gerwig is going to be adapting the Narnia books for film. So we already had films, but we didn't get the whole series. But I guess they're gonna reboot that. So Greta Gerwig is gonna have her. This looks like it's going to be on Netflix. So this will not be. Oh, wait a minute. It will enjoy a 2-week IMAX release run in theaters after releasing on Thanksgiving 2026 before heading to Netflix. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I know Greta from is Barbie, so I don't know how she's gonna do on Narnia. Could be better, could be worse. Oh, we got a new person in the chat room here. Pop Culture Poppy. We're getting to that, man. Knock it off.
Well, if that, and I'll just throw this out there, Poppy. If that's your opinion, you're not going to like what I have to say. Just throwing that out there.
We won't get there.
We'll get there.
But anyway,
but you're not going to like it.
What do you think about a new Narnia series?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not digging this current fascination with like redoing
Reboots?
shows and movies. Yeah, this fascination with reboots. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I'm excited for the Harry Potter series on Max, but the problem is that I would rather see like the Marauders or the Founders or something like that. I would rather than tell new stories. I don't really see a problem with the old ones. Same thing with the Narnia stories. Some of the movies weren't that great, but they weren't bad either. They were decent. They were good movies. The first one especially. I never read the books, so I can't judge. I can't compare. But this whole thing of there being older movies and now they're wanting to reboot them into TV series and put in a whole new cast and do them all over again. It just feels like to me like this has just become the death throes of Hollywood trying to find a way to generate revenue by going back and doing stories that we already know. And so they're, oh, well, we need to reboot them and we need to make them better and we need to follow the books. And I'm like,
so
oh, wait a minute.
In the Discord, Blue, where's his, oh man, where is his comment? Because we were talking about something along these lines.
Mm-hmm.
Where's his, is Hollywood dead ass out of ideas? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it feels like. That's really what it feels like. That's really what it feels like to me is that Hollywood is running out of ideas, so they're taking old shows and they're trying to reboot them, or they're bringing in new casts, they're updating them, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, you can't figure out a way to write new stories for other timelines and other places and other things. Like, if you want to tell the Narnia stories, then why don't you advance? Why don't you do a TV series picking up where the movies left off and tell the remainder of the books instead of going back and completely redoing them? Why don't you just pick up where they left off? If, like, for instance, like the Fantastic Beasts series, if you want to tell new stories and you want to do an HBO limited series, why don't you pick up where the movies left off and do that? Instead of rehashing out old stories, bringing in new actors, updating the graphics, which In some cases, the graphics aren't even that good anymore because they become very lazy with it, i.e.,
Yeah.
Marvel TV shows, and we all know what that we're talking about there. Um, Instead of doing that, why don't you come up with some original ideas or coming with some original additional content instead of, like I said, trying to rehash out all stuff? Dune, I mean, I haven't watched them yet. I have not watched the TV series yet, but Dune is doing it right. They had the movies. The movies were great. And now they're trying to expand the storyline by doing previous and other timelines, which is fantastic. Star Wars, same thing. We have the movies, we have all the content. Now they're just trying to expand those stories. Some of it's been fantastic, some of it not so much. But at the same time, they're trying to come up with new content to expand the story, to expand the universe, not taking the old stuff, rehashing it out, redoing it again, which is, in my opinion, extremely lazy on their part. I mean, it's just an opinion. You feel free to disagree with me, but it just feels lazy to me.
Yep. I agree. They need to
Yeah.
come up with new stuff. Um. Shit. Where was I? God damn it. Squirrel. Take a drink.
Squirrel. Woo! I got my drink. Yeah, and
Okay. Now
that's
we are
that.
moving on. We've got some Star Wars news, and we got a little bit of Star Wars news. We got some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, first one, uh, very much sounds like a rumor. In fact, I will say I am 99% sure that this is a rumor, but the article says that a new Star Wars series based on Mara Jade is in the works. Live action.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it.
No,
Um,
I think that's
Now,
100% rumor.
that being said, while I would like to see that, how would it work? How would they bring her in?
This is something I've said. This is specific. This is purely my head canon fan fiction. Okay, but I think that the events of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, if they did it right, could it be explained by telling the story of Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker? And so, like I said, this is completely in my head, fan fiction. I have kind of, went through it in my own mind and kind of thought about it. Now, if the events of what happened with Luke and Ben Skywalker and the Academy were a direct result of him becoming infatuated with Mara Jade and something happening where his focus with her took his focus out of the students, and that's what caused the events. I would think that might work, but unfortunately, that will upset a lot of EU fans because their relationship and the fact that they had kids and stuff like that will be very much. The interaction between the two of them and the storyline between the two of them would have changed dramatically. And so I think that it would be hard to use that as a tool to segue into that to tell more of the story. But I guess it also just kind of depends on. I guess it just really. I mean, it always, like I always say, it always depends on how they're going to tell the story. Because at this point they would have to tell a different story about Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade in order to fit it into the current canon. So it just depends on how they use her. If they were to put her in there, there's a lot of people that have been requesting it, who have been asking for Mara Jade to become part of the established canon. But like I said, it would be a very, very, very risky proposition, in my opinion. I think I think it would be risky. And if in my, like I said, in my head canon, if they were to use Mara Jade as that linchpin for why the events of Force Awakens and The Last Jedi actually happened, then I think there'd be a lot of upset people about that.
Yeah, I don't.
So I don't know.
Number one, I am absolutely sure that it is a rumor. I don't think it's going to happen. That being
I agree.
said, I don't think it should happen.
I don't think it should either. I really don't think they need to do that. I don't think it's a necessity. I think if they wanted to tell the story about Luke's academy and they wanted to tell the story leading up to the events of Force Awakens, and and what happened at Jedi or at Luke's new Jedi Academy. I think there could be other ways of doing it, and I think by bringing her in and using her as that, I think would be incredibly stupid on their part. So I agree with you. I think it's completely 100% rumor. I don't think it's legitimate, especially when they say somebody like Zendaya is going to be, or Zendaya, however you pronounce her name. I apologize. I'm not
That
purposely trying to
that
butcher
was a
it.
dumb idea. Why? No. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
We're done talking about Mara Jade. Um, this next piece of Star Wars news is absolutely not a rumor. We got a 20th anniversary coming up, if you don't already know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, episode 3 will be returning to the theaters for 1 week. 1 week only, starting April 25th, in celebration of its 20th anniversary. And it will be available for the first time in 4DX. So we are getting a theatrical re-release of Revenge of the Sith. Pretty happy about that.
I'm pretty sure if that makes it to IMAX here in Wichita, I will be probably attending that.
I think
To
if
be
it comes
honest.
to that AMC there in Wichita, you and I need to have a
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
we
Yeah,
yeah.
we need to get together and go and enjoy
We need to do like a live
episode
stream
3.
right outside the theater.
Yep. Enjoy episode 3 back on the big screen. I would be down for that. That would be fun.
Heck yeah.
That would be fun. And it would be a good gear up. And I think if they did a poster for it too, I'd like to get a hold of one and actually put it below my Return to the Jedi poster. That would be fantastic.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. In fact,
I
what I've seen of it, I really like that poster. Is if they do, and I've said this before to everybody, Etsy is a wonderful a custom place to get posters like that. If they do that, and there's somebody like I found the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi back in theaters on canvas, I am going to order me one of those as well, and it will be sitting right next to Return of the Jedi on the wall. So yeah.
What we need to do
Just
is
so
get a big old tapestry of this guy behind us.
Yes.
All right, next piece of Star Wars news, and this one will not be a surprise to anybody because this isn't really news. This is just an announcement of something that happened earlier this week. We got an Andor season 2 trailer.
Yes,
and it was great.
And I have a question. I have a question for you.
Giving it crap because of the music can suck it.
Exactly. And I have a question for you people in the chat and for Steve. Who else got major Rogue One vibes?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I got Rogue One vibes so bad from that. Oh, my God. It looks good. It looks great. I can't wait. I can't wait. And I hope and pray that they do show special episodes at Celebration, that I can go and watch it at Celebration on the Celebration stage with other Star Wars fans. That would be a freaking epic, because it just looks, yeah, I agree, Tina, 100%.
Yeah, exactly, Joy.
Yes, Joy. Yes, the music was great. I liked that they're doing that. I think it's great. I think they're trying to appeal to other, to other types of people, not just the traditional Star Wars fans. They're trying to appeal to other people, and I think it's great. And I thought it was great. I thought the way the trailer came out was great, and it looks freaking phenomenal.
So good.
I'm sorry, but it looks great. I'm excited. I'm excited for Andor. I can't wait.
People are bent out of shape over the music. Like, come on, man.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not surprised.
Come on,
I'm really
we're
not.
getting a second season of Andor finally.
But you have to understand the way some of the fan base has been lately. I'm not surprised.
Exactly, Tina.
Yes, 100%. It fit the vibe 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I now, Joy. I don't know. I don't think we'll see. I don't think we'll see Jen. That would be
Uh,
cool. That would be great. But I maybe
unless
we might see a young version of Jen.
I was going to say, unless, yeah, because yeah,
We
I don't
did
know.
see Saw. We did see
It's
Saw
going to have to be
Gerrera.
in a flashback.
Yeah, we did see Saw Gerrera, and we did see him with the hair. We did see that part of it. I knew you'd be excited about that. And so we may see her, but it's probably going to be like a young version of her. It may be like a flashback, or it may be some backstory on when she got left behind or something like that. Maybe we get lucky enough to see that, but I'm not hopeful of that. But who knows?
Yeah, really excited for season 2 of Andor.
I'm very excited.
There you go, Joy. Exactly.
Yes, yes,
Heck yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
All right. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, before I say anything about it, I will believe it when I see it.
Amen.
For one.
Amen.
I am not 100% sure it's going to happen.
Okay.
We are
Go
talking
ahead.
about
Go ahead.
the announcement, if you want to call it the announcement, because it's been all over the internet, that Kathleen Kennedy has announced she is retiring from Lucasfilm. Is it legitimate? I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. That being said, there are clearly some people happy about the news. I don't have a problem with Kathleen Kennedy.
Me either. That's why I said to the person in the chat earlier, I said, you're not gonna like what I have to say. If you're happy that Kathleen Kennedy might be leaving, you're not gonna be happy with what I had to say.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with her.
Nope.
I mean, if it was going to happen, who really the only person I think would be fit to replace her would be Dave.
I don't know. I think Jon Favreau would be better as director, and I think Dave Filoni would be better as his second.
Yeah, if we're talking about president of Lucasfilm, what's an underrated opinion? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Smirking Bear? I need some context for my own statement, please.
Yeah.
No, I would not have a problem. I would not have a problem with it being John.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I think.
Of course, I've also heard another name that people have thrown around, and I would be just as happy with her, and Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, she's done great as a director. Now, would she be good as president of Lucasfilm? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she would be ready for something like that, but I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that. But go finish your thoughts, and I'll give mine.
No, like go ahead.
Number one, first off, this rumor has come up several times. So whether it actually happens or not remains to be seen. We will just have to wait it out and see. Her contract does not end until the end of 2025. So we won't know something until closer to the end of the year. This is a rumor that came out, and it was
dear
the
God,
original.
Why?
What did he say? Make the president of Lucasfilm. Bring who? Wait a minute. What was that? To bring Ewok movies that it's canon.
If you like the Ewoks, Rabbit, you should check out our previous episode that was focused on the Ewoks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, Brian.
So honestly, we won't know anything till the end of the year. That's 100%. We won't know that for sure till the end of the year. Okay. Secondly, if the woman retires, she's earned it. I mean, she's what, 72 years old?
I don't know actually. Let's check. Let us check the interwebs.
All right.
The interweb says 71. She will be
71.
72 in June.
Okay, so by the time end of 2025 comes around when she actually retires, she will be 72 years old. Well past most people's retirement age. Okay. So, firstly, if she retires, she's going to be doing it of her own volition and her own accord. That's the first thing. She's not going to be fired. Her contract's not going to be terminated. She will just retire in peace because it's time for her to retire. And for any of you people, I really don't.
Tina.
Hondo for president. Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to say this, and I really don't give two shits if you disagree with me. The woman has earned it. And the list of accolades as producer in Hollywood, she has more than solidified her legacy with Hollywood and great movies that have been produced and directed and come out in Hollywood. Whether you like what she's done with Lucasfilm since she's been there, or whether you like it or not, she's done some great things. Some of the things were not so good, but she's not directly responsible for that. She is just somebody who tries to run the things and tries to give it direction. And other people have been given freedom to produce shows as they would. She receives way too much hate for what she does. She has been in the business for a very long time. She was handpicked by George Lucas. She deserves the retirement. She deserves, I think, in my opinion, she deserves the respect for what she has done for not only Star Wars, but for some of the great movies that we've had throughout the years of her being a producer. And if she retires, I hope she retires knowing that she brought great entertainment to people who enjoy movies. And if she retires, if that's the case, I wish her the best. Because I think she 100% deserves it. And I think she 100% deserves all the appreciation that we can give her. And like I said, you can kiss my ass if you don't agree with me. I don't care. Don't really give a shit.
Tell us how you really feel.
I don't give a shit. That's how I really feel about it. That's how I really feel about it. She does not deserve the hate that she gets. She has done a phenomenal job as a producer. And sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't work out. That's just the nature of the business. It's the nature of the beast. And she deserves to retire in peace, knowing that she brought entertainment to the people. And I really, yeah. If you disagree, eat shit. That's how I feel.
Andor.
She gave us Andor. She gave us the Goonies. She gave us the Back to the Future trilogy. She gave us a shit ton of Star Wars content. I mean, you can look up, literally Google her list of accolades as producer in Hollywood, and you will see some of the most iconic movies to come over to the past 20 to 30 years. If you have never looked up the movies that she's been involved in and been a producer on, you need to look it up. She has been involved in some of the best and most iconic movies in the last 20 to 30 years. Yep. Maybe even longer. I mean, I may be wrong. She may be even longer. And just because you disagree with a few things that they've done with Star Wars or a few things like that, it still doesn't erase the fact that she was involved with some great projects and she's done some great things. And the hate she gets is 100% not deserved. And I really do. If she retires, I will be the first person to sit down and say thank you and enjoy your retirement. And I hope you get to live the rest of your life in peace and not have to worry about what other people think about what you did, because what you did was great.
That's right. I mean,
So
she
there you
was
go.
involved in the cinematic classic Joe versus the volcano. So come on.
Oh God. Whatever. Like I said, not everything has been great. Not everything has been awesome. Not everything has been
What are
iconic.
you saying? Are you saying that was not a good movie?
I watched Joe versus Volcano, and I thought it was I thought it was okay. It was fun. It was entertaining. I
Come
mean,
on
I say
now.
the same thing. I say the same thing about Attack of the Clones. It was fun. It was entertaining. It's not my favorite. It's my least favorite Star Wars show or anything having to do with Star Wars, but I still enjoy it. I've watched Joe versus the Volcano, and I thought it was funny. I mean, not everything turns out the way you want it to, but that doesn't matter. When you have a tough job like she has, and when you are tasked with bringing entertainment to such a broad audience like Star Wars and such a skeptical audience and such a judgmental audience like Star Wars fans can be,
Brennan!
arguably, what's up? Arguably, we can sit down and we can talk. I mean, we can have a deeper discussion about it. Honestly, I'll tell you this, Steve. If she does retire, I would be 100% on board to sit and have a Kathleen Kennedy episode discussing
I
her
was
movies and
just
what
going to
she's
say
brought.
that.
I would 100%. I
I
would
was
sit here for an entire episode and I would talk about
the legacy
congratulating
of
her on her
Kathleen
retirement
Kennedy.
and the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy and what she's brought to the table as far as movies, as far as Star Wars is concerned. I would 100% be okay with that. And if there's
I'm
people
down
that
for
come
it.
in and go, "We hate you for it," I'd be like, "Good. You don't have to watch our show. You can go screw yourself and go find another show to watch. I really don't care. I will give the woman the praise that she deserves. If I don't like a movie that she did, I'll say, "Hey, look, that was not a good idea." But there isn't a person alive who comes up with bad ideas on a daily basis and has to live with those bad ideas. So I don't care. I will congratulate the woman and praise her for the things that she's done that have been positive and the things about it that I
Exactly,
love.
Joy.
Yeah. I mean, really, honestly, people, if you have not looked at the shows that she has actually produced and she's been a part of, and obviously she's not the one that did them. She's not the one that wrote them. She's not that, but she was a part of those shows. She was a part of that team that brought us those shows.
They don't put people in the credits because they did nothing.
Exactly. 100%. She was there. She was a part of it. She helped bring those to life for us, along with all the incredible people and all the incredible teams that did it. You know, from the intern.
That stream would bring in people like hot comets.
Bring them on. Bring them on. I don't give a. I could.
Brian is telling you to preach.
Thank you, Brian. 100%. I don't give a shit. I'll take on the critics all day long. I don't give a damn. I don't care. If that is the
Cat says
case,
you're on fire.
yeah. If she retires, Steve, I would
exactly, Joy. Yeah, right there.
just tell your haters. Exactly. Thank you for the interactions and thank you for the numbers. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will protest. I will protest all day long that we do a legacy of Kathleen Kennedy show. Just if that is in fact what she does, if she retires, I'm here for it.
Heck yeah.
End of preaching.
And that is it for all our news. So we're done with news for the day. And so what comes up next? Oh, now
Thingies.
It is time to show our thingies.
We actually had a lot of news, so I'm going to try to go through this quick. I apologize if you guys want to see more. I'm more than happy to show you more, either in Discord or
show more of your thingies.
I'm going to show more of my thingies.
Alrighty.
So for tonight's episode, obviously we're doing our final episode for Return of the King. We're going to get to that very shortly. So we will make this quick, folks. As far as I will make this the last of showing my thingies. I actually have 2 tonight, which is great. First, I'm going to show, and I'm actually going to try to.
Wait, no, this is not the last edition of showing your thingies.
No. This is the last edition of showing for Lord of the Rings content. So what I'll show you is I widen my camera angle so everybody can see. Hopefully, everybody can see.
Tells you to whip it out.
Yeah. So my first thing I want to show is we had Star Wars night at the Wichita Thunder hockey game the other night, and this was the themed jersey for the other night, which was great. Has the Mandalorian symbol, the mud horn, has Baby Grogu holding the hockey stick, and my wonderful niece was able to get me an autograph of the goalie from the team for my hockey jersey. This was awesome.
Sweet.
It's great. It's awesome.
That has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, but awesome.
Yeah, nothing to do with the Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, but yeah, bear with me, people. So here, let me change my thing. Hang on a second. I got to change my thingy and my thing. Okay, there, hey, how you doing? And so, because tonight is our final episode of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I wanted to show you this. Huh?
So how did you do that?
I'm able to change my camera angles.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, the very last thing I wanted to show you, and it kind of goes along with last week's episode if everybody was here for last week's episode, but I wanted to show everybody, I've had this pretty much since Return of the King came out. I wanted to show you my United Cutlery's Sword of the King Endril.
Isn't that Inigo Montoya's sword?
No. Forged from the shards of Narsil, the Sword of Aragorn, or Sword of the King Andrew. And you can kind of see, I'll give you a little bit of a thing here, show you a little bit of the detail on it. Kind of cool, and it's on both sides. That's kind of neat. And there, and even the sword in Elvish said, "Forged from the shards of Narsil." This is Anduril, Sword of the King, and it is freaking long. I mean, this is sitting on my floor, and I'm sitting in a chair, and this thing is huge. I mean, you can see I'm all way over here with it. And I mean, it's freaking huge. It's a huge sword. But yeah, like I said, it's from the United Cutlery. I have a plaque for it in the back so I can hang it up, but that's it. Yeah. So I actually have a United Cutlery sword from Lord of the Rings, which is cool. I love it. It's great. Thing's heavy. It's long. Yes, everybody, long. I said I have a heavy and long thingy. I have a heavy and long thingy.
He's got a big old thingy.
I got a big old thingy. Just saying. Just saying. So anyway, yeah, there it is.
There you go. All right. There's your thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to show, but you know what? Since we have a special guest, oh great! Now she's got her ass to me. If you see right around, now won't let me do it. Right around there. If you see that little ball of fluff, that is Princess Leia. She is the alpha cat in this house. You awake? Hold on, let me see. You awake? How you doing, baby girl? Come here. Come here. Oh, there we are. There we are.
Steve's thingy's got fur on it.
I'm just saying. I got a furry thingy.
She's got a furry thingy.
She is. We were talking about this before we went live, but Leia has not been happy with me because I've been gone all day and haven't been here to. She is for those of you that don't know, Leia is a huge daddy's girl. She is, she's 100% daddy's girl.
I don't think she's gonna let you put her down.
Oh, I can put her down. She won't like it. Come on, let's go back over here.
For those of you, and for those of you, if you're not a part of it and you haven't got a chance to get into it yet, which I think a lot of you are, Come into our Discord. We have places you can post your pets, you can post TV shows, you can post movies. We have all kinds of subject matters in our Discord that you can talk about, that you can be a part of. And seeing everybody's
I'll get to
cats
it,
is,
Joy. Just hang on.
yeah. We'll yeah.
We
Yeah.
still have
So
Return of the King we got to talk about, too.
I know we need to get to it. Go ahead, Steve. Do your thing.
Okay, so that was Princess Leia, by the way.
Hmm.
Thank you, Jamie, aka Taco Cat. I love my cat, too. She's one of
Yes.
5, by the way, if you didn't already know that. All right. So that was it for showing our thingies. All righty. We do like it when you engage with us. You mentioned the Discord.
Hmm.
We like to be engagement on Discord for sure, and also all the other social media. And you can follow us at all our social media platforms by going to bio.link/Rebel Nerd Radio. That will take you to our YouTube channel, all our social media, take you to a link. I'm pretty sure there's a link to Discord. If it's not, I got to put it back on there. I don't know. If it's not, like I said, I'll put it back on there. All the other, like the audio platforms where you can hear us and don't have to look at us if that's your thing, which completely understand. But yeah, that is so. If you aren't following us yet on any of those social medias, you can go there and follow us there. That will also take you to our merchandise site where you can buy some nifty new t-shirts that we just put out. Crap, I forgot to load that image. One person in the chat has actually, I'm not sure if he's still in the chat. I think he went back to the soccer game. One person has already bought, but here, let me share the screen here. That is our merchandise site right there. Let me get that overlay off real quick.
Ooh, I like the blue.
Yeah, that's a good picture for it. So that is the new design for the t-shirt. So you can go check that out. Damn it, the price went up again. We don't really make much money off of these things. So these are mostly just if you would like to buy these and promote us and give us a little bit of money, we'd appreciate it. But if you really want to support us and what we do, that bio link will also take you to our Discord. So if you're not already a patron, you are missing out on all of the nerdy fun, extra nerdy fun. We have exclusive content, which at the time being is mostly referring to our Star Wars role-playing game that we do every once in a while. I am the GM. JD is one of our lovely PCs. And we are going through a campaign. And I believe if nothing comes up, we will be recording another episode on Thursday. It's a lot of fun. What are your thoughts on the Star Wars RPG?
I like it. It's the first one I've ever played. For those of you who don't know, it's the first one I've ever played, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. I think it probably greatly depends on the people that you play with and the storyline. And I think
For sure.
both have been a lot of fun. And I like the fact that we're unfortunately we're giving Steve a lot of grief because we keep messing with the storyline and we keep messing up what's going on and he's having to make major changes. But I feel like that's probably a decent part of it, and it makes it a lot of fun because we've come up with creative ideas and ways to advance that storyline, and all of us, and
Sometimes I screw up the storyline myself.
Yeah, and but it's a lot of fun. We have a good group of people that play, and they're awesome. It's a great time when we play. We have a lot of fun. If you folks haven't had a chance to check out those episodes, please do. It's a good time. It really is. It's really a good time. It's a lot of fun doing it, and I think you would have a great time watching it. And so, yeah,
And it's great
it's
running it. I love weaving the story, even though it gets screwed up every other time we turn
mm,
around.
yeah, and by no fault other than Steve like rolling the dice does it get screwed up. Just so you people are aware.
Man. So Rabbit, right now we aren't looking for any um but oh.
Are you there? Oh, did we lose Steve again? Hello? Who did we lose? Did we lose me or did we lose Steve?
Well, I think we lost everything. I'm checking to see if we're still in the stream. That was weird. I
That
don't know
was
what
weird.
happened.
Somebody throw in the chat. Can you still see us? Can you still hear us okay?
Gosh.
Yeah, they said you're frozen.
Okay, am I still frozen?
Yeah, is Steve still frozen? Can you see him okay? Can you hear him okay?
Okay, am I still gone?
I'm looking at the YouTube feed right now and I can see you.
You can. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at YouTube feed right now and I can still see you. So yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, Steve number 2 or Steve Spawn says he can see you.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're
that's
good. Yeah,
weird.
now we can. Okay, Dina says he can see you now too
Hey,
as well. So
Dina. Haven't
hey
seen you in a while.
Dina.
How's it been going?
Yeah,
Um,
everyone's good now. Tina says everybody's good now. Okay, go ahead.
okay. Anyway, what I was saying, Rabbit, is right now we don't need any new members, but this campaign will be over in a month or two. So when we run another Star Wars campaign, we might be looking for some new members. So keep you updated on that. Anyway, so in addition to the exclusive content like the Star Wars RPG, we also have early access content like the Batcave and Kryptonian Chronicles. In fact, we just did a new episode of the Batcave where we talked about Batman Hush. Those eventually end up on YouTube, but not until I feel like putting it up there. So if you aren't a patron, you can go there by going to the bio link. Once again, that's bio.link/Rebel Nerd Radio. Or you can just go to patreon.com/Rebel Nerd Radio. And we also would like to give a huge thanks to those that are already our patrons. I did want to say one thing. To be a patron, it's still currently only $2 a month. So not that expensive. And you can support and get all the cool stuff. We are going to get some new stickers made because we've got the new logo. So all patrons will be getting the new stickers. But anyway, here's a huge thanks to all the patrons that are out there to help us keep the show going. So thank you to Dave Brown, Kelly and Chris Olson, Charlie Kirby, Matthew, Steve Spawn, who's with us in the chat, Justin Hensley, Chantel, Brennan, and Funky S. So, seriously, guys, we really appreciate it, and your support means everything to us. Okay, since
Yes,
everybody's
thank you.
asking, they want to know who the new mascot is. We're getting this in the chat. They need to see the new mascot. We'd like to introduce to you the new mascot of Rebel Nerd Radio, Nut Nut. So everybody, there's Nut Nut.
Our friendly, big-eyed friend, Nut Nut.
Yes. I don't know
Who
what are the fans of this podcast now called nerd nuts.
that could work.
How about just nutty nerds? I don't,
Nutty nerds, that works too.
you know.
Nerd nuts, nutty
Um,
nerds.
I don't know if we're going to have any. We probably should have some squirrel merchandise.
Hmm?
Rebel nuts.
We could get Rebel Nuts. Rebel
Workshop
Nuts.
it. How about you guys
Yeah,
workshop it and
yeah.
jump into the Discord and have some
Now
discussion
you
about it.
now you know we the Rebel Nerd Radio rocks. Who came from Joy? For those of you who don't know, wonderful Joy who brought us our Rebel Nerd rocks. Yeah. So now we leave it up to you. We can even get T-shirts made if we want.
Well, you see, Rabbit, the reason we went with a squirrel is this is a long-standing. The squirrel has been around for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a lot of squirrel moments on this show.
We've had a lot of them tonight too, and
We have a lot of them tonight, and now we need to start talking about Return of the
we need to
King
start
because
talking about Return of the King.
we're
Otherwise, we're not
already
going
an
to have enough
hour
time.
and 15 minutes into the show.
Yeah, we're not going to have enough time.
Tina says that they are all nutters. We are all nutters.
That I agree with, 100%.
I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, Return of the King.
Return of the King.
Okay, Return of the King is a movie. It is the final movie in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy. Came out in 2003. I'll get to you in a second, JD. I know you're waiting. I just wanted to get some stuff out of the way. Came out in December 2003. And like I said, it was the final installment in his Lord of the Rings trilogy. And with that, JD, whoever pulled a squirrel out of a hat. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. You said a rabbit out of the hat, squirrel out of the hat.
Nobody. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Without further ado, JD is going to give us a brief synopsis.
A very brief
of
synopsis.
The Return of the King.
So basically, I mean, Return of the King is the conclusion of the 3-part series. It is the final journey of Sam, Frodo, and Gollum, or Smeagol, into Mordor to try to return return the ring to Mount Doom to be destroyed. We also get to see the final conclusion of Aragorn's journey into becoming his final journey to reclaim his rightful place as King of Gondor. We also get to see the further adventures of some of the returning characters from the Two Towers. We also get to see Merry and Pippin come into their own as stewards, or not stewards, but what do I want to say here? As knights and horsemen of not only Rohirrim but Gondor. Basically, what we see from this movie is we see the journey that leads us to the end of the final battle between the men of the West, and Mordor, or Sauron, if you will. And it's the culmination of several stories that we've been watching throughout, and we get to see the actual lands of Mordor. We get to see Minas Tirith, which is a magnificent castle. And yes, White Rabbit, we get to see the Battle of Pelennor Fields, the final battle between the forces of Gondor and the forces of Mordor, or one of the final battles, not the final battle, but one of the final battles between the two of them. Probably one of the greatest battles we've seen on screen from that at that time, which is a huge achievement in CGI that came through and ended up being a fantastic battle. We get to see characters like Samwise come into his own. We get to see the final conclusion of Aragorn's journey, from being a simple ranger who denies his past to being a captain to being a king. We get to see the culmination of the relationship between Gimli and Legolas, which is fantastic. Which in and of itself was one of the most satisfying endings for a story arc between characters, or between a character or two characters. Um, and so this, like I said, basically this is the conclusion of us seeing the end of and the destruction of the ring and the age of men in Middle Earth coming to a conclusion. I hope that was simple enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in this movie.
Yes, 100%.
Um,
And I promise I'll try to be as quick as I can and brief as I can on each point. I promise.
Aside from the movie plot and what happened in the movie itself, this thing won a crap ton of awards.
Mm-hmm.
It won every Oscar for which it was nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects. It also won all of the Golden Globe Awards for which it was nominated.
How many Oscars did it actually win? Was it?
It won. It was nominated for 11 and won them all.
Yeah. Which if I'm not mistaken, hadn't been done since Ben-Hur.
What's that now?
Now, I think the movie Ben-Hur won like 11 or 12, and then Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won the same amount or more.
Okay.
Now, I may be a little off on that, but I'm pretty sure that was something that had happened that hadn't happened before.
Yeah.
Or maybe it did. Maybe it did when Titanic came out, but
ugh. So yeah, it won a lot of awards, made a lot of money. It was the highest grossing film of 2003. Yeah. It was
even the theatrical version of the movie was very long. And then if you actually watch the extended edition, it's even longer, and it's crazy. And we have some of the greatest moments, obviously being the third act, it's the greatest moments in the entire series. From the Rohirrim showing up at the Battle of Perennial Fields to Aragorn resisting Sauron's gaze and battling against insurmountable odds because he had faith that Frodo and Sam were about to make it into Mordor to destroy the ring, to his charge by himself, to seeing Merry and Pippin charge right beside him or right behind him into battle, knowing that they might lose or they might sacrifice their lives for it, to Legolas and Gimli talking about them, their distinction, or not the distinction, but the disdain between the elves and the dwarves, but in the end fighting this battle as friends, saying dying beside a friend. There was so many moments in this that was so awesome, and it just
very very action packed.
Very action packed. I mean, even one of a great scene was when Eowyn protects Theoden King from the Witch King, or from the Witch King, chops off the head of the Nazgul, and then takes him on in battle and kills him and rips off her helmet, revealing that she's actually a woman, and he underestimated her, and she was able to take him out.
I mean, what I was saying, like, even by the standards of the rest of these movies, which the rest of the movies were filled with action, but even comparatively, this one was just like it upped the ante, I think. And also, I want to say I agree with Rabbit. She says that Hollywood held on to all the awards for the first two movies and then gave them all the love in the third. I can agree with that. It probably did.
Yeah. I mean, really, honestly, that's probably a very good point, because if they'd have thought about it and they sit down with it, I mean, yes, Return of the King had the most action. It was the greatest. It had such a fantastic story. The ending of the story arcs for each of the characters were pretty good. I mean, well, I'm not real pretty good. They were fantastic, in my opinion.
Pretty good.
But if they'd have taken all the Lord of the Rings movies and they'd have handed them all the awards, nobody else would have actually won anything.
That's fair.
And I think they knew that. I think, like I said, we can't do that. We can't hand them all the awards every year. I mean, nobody else will be able to win anything because these movies are awesome and they're superior and the acting is fantastic and that kind of thing. So, I mean, and yeah, Joy, I love that part when she says, "I am no man," and stabs him in the face. That's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that was great.
That's great. Not my favorite moment in the movie, and we'll get to that. But a fantastic part. But it's parts like that. It's parts like Merry and Pippin charging in behind Aragorn. It's just the overwhelming, just to see everything happen to all those characters and everything that went through it, and then you see the conclusion of it and go, that was a great story. Even when Eowyn, or not Eowyn, Aragorn's wife, Arwen. Did I say that right? Arwen, the elf. Arwen the elf. When she shows up during the coronation scene with Aragorn from start to finish is probably, I mean, I love that part. And I love the battle and the action scenes, but the coronation scene was great. And the reason why is because of the overwhelming emotion that you get from seeing all that. Not only from seeing Aragorn take his first steps as being the king and actually accepting his destiny as being the king, but the part where Arwen shows up and they end up together after she was convinced that she was leaving for and leaving with all the other elves. And then the best part of it, in my opinion, the best part of the whole movie, my favorite part of the whole movie, is when Aragorn and Arwen shows up or walks over to the hobbits, and all four of them are standing up there in front of everybody. And the four hobbits bow to Aragorn, and Aragorn stops them and says, "My friends, you bow before no one." Because of their amazing contribution, because they were such little people, but they made such a great contribution, because of their bravery, because of everything they did. And you see all the people of Gondor bow before the four hobbits. To me, that scene is just...
Was that during the coronation?
That was during the coronation.
Okay.
That was the very last scene in the coronation. And
I remember
I love that scene. That scene was phenomenal. It was so fantastic because he recognized them as being such a contribution, even though they may have not been the greatest of warriors. They may have not have been able to kill a lot of orcs or anything like that. But their contribution, being such little people, but they were willing to stand and die for their friends and the people that they loved, and they were willing to sacrifice themselves for the people of Middle Earth. And he showed not only whether he was king, but he was humble by telling them that you bow before no one because of your contribution, because your contribution was so significant. To me, it says so much about how the little people can make such a difference, even though people underestimate them, and they had throughout the movies. In such a way, they kind of highlighted that. And then at the end, it was the king of Gondor, the king of men, said, "Look, you don't need to bow because what you have done is so great." So that to me it said so much. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
That
was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Between that and Aragorn resisting Sauron and running into battle, willing to sacrifice himself and his men to make sure that Frodo accomplished his mission. That was awesome. That was great. Loved it.
So last week we mentioned one of the things about the Two Towers that was important to that movie, I think, was the character development. But here in Return of the King, a thought that comes across me, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is goes one step further, character evolution. Like you've got, let's take an example. You've got an evolution of a character from ranger to king. And then you have the evolution of a character from friend and kind of assistant to family man. Talking about Sam, but
Mm-hmm.
just little things
Sam,
like that. That like,
I'm gonna hit on that real quick. Sam's arc, in my opinion, was not dismissing everybody else's, but in my opinion, Sam's arc was probably the biggest one in the entire series, in my opinion.
okay, I mean, yeah, I'm more particular to Aragorn,
Yeah.
maybe,
No,
but
I would say for me it goes Sam, Aragorn, and then we
but
can go from there.
but then you can't leave out Frodo, who is this. I mean, at the very beginning, he's just the shy, reserved little hobbit, and then evolves into this like uh, I mean, it's very simplistic to say hero.
Are you talking about Frodo or Sam?
Frodo. Frodo.
Okay.
He starts off in the Fellowship as he's kind of shy, little bit shy, kind of reserved, but then he becomes this hero.
Okay,
And
okay. Oh, hold on. Are you talking about the one that was holding the ring the entire time? Or are you talking about the one that was the at the end? He's the one that carried Frodo up Mount Doom.
no, the one that was carrying the ring the whole time,
Okay,
Frodo.
okay, all right, okay. Because the reason I say that is I saw his character arc very differently. But go ahead.
Well, tell me, how did you see his character arc?
I I I saw his character arc. In my opinion, he because see to me Sam is the one that played the hero in the end because Frodo resisted the ring as long as he could. He carried the ring, he carried the burden, but in the end, he was before the destruction of the ring. It got to the point where he was so consumed by it that he actually was going to turn against and take the ring for himself because he had carried it for so long and he had succumbed to it for so long. And Sam was the one that actually made sure that he fulfilled it, and Frodo was the one that because of the influence of the ring, he ended up almost like Bilbo did, where Bilbo, like, after he got rid of the ring, he felt better about it, but he always desired the ring. So it changed him, but I think Frodo changed it. I almost think that and I kind of agree with Bear a little bit. Frodo almost kind of devolved a little bit. He kind of lost a lot of himself because he was the ring bearer.
I mean, I won't deny that he had moments of weakness.
Yeah, which I mean is understandable because he had it. But I think unfortunately his character ends up becoming more of the tragedy of the story, like in a Shakespearean tragedy esque
Mm.
kind of way. I think Frodo's character ends up being the tragic part of it, and I think that in the end, and spoiler alert, in the end, him being invited to the Undying Lands with the elves was the only way that he was ever going to completely free himself and be free of the
Okay,
desire for the ring.
and that's what I was getting at. Do you not see that as a character evolution?
I don't necessarily believe that his character didn't evolve. I just think that throughout the story, his bearing the burden of the ring in a lot of ways changed him, but I don't think it was necessarily a evolution. I kind of think it was a lateral move. Maybe not even a de-evolution, but I think it was a lateral move. I think it changed him in some ways for better, in some ways for worse. So I think
Yeah.
his character made more of a lateral move, where every other character,
Lateral
um,
move, really?
yeah, kind of a lateral move.
I
If you
just
think,
don't see it that way. Huh.
and that's okay, and that's okay. I mean, I just think that he did the experience did change him and made him better, but his desire and the influence of the ring changed how he saw the world and changed what he wanted.
And Rabbit is also saying that his story is tragic, but I mean,
He
let me
had the
hang
best
on.
ability. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me
Go ahead.
try to articulate what I'm trying to say about him.
Okay, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
I don't really think there's a right or wrong answer, to be honest with you.
you're
So go
probably
ahead.
right. You're probably right. I just think I can. I just think that Frodo, while there is tragedy in his story, but he overcame all that tragedy, and ultimately, he did destroy the ring.
But did he? Because the ring, he didn't throw the ring in. He tried to put the ring on. He tried to take the ring for himself. And the only reason the ring fell in is because Frodo and Gollum fought over the ring. And Gollum ended up stealing it from biting it off the hand of Frodo, and he fell in.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
You
I guess.
know, and the thing about and the reason why I say that if any reason the reason why I say that I think his character arc was more of a lateral move is because the positive and negatives weighed on him, and you can kind of tell that because in the end um um you kind of see where Frodo's finishing the story, but he like touches his shoulder where he got stabbed by the Morgul blade, and he says, "It still hurts. I still feel it every so often." And I
Yeah.
think what that is it's kind of like a metaphor for I still have that desire. I still have that feeling
Mm.
that it's still there, that I still have that desire for the ring. So he's saying that he's kind of grown past it, he's kind of moved on, but at the same time, he still has it to where it still affects him. And there's even references in the story in the movies where it says it will always be there. It will never fully heal. He'll never fully recover from the desire for the ring. So
So
the ring changed him. He changed as a person, but the ring changed him to a point that he would never recover from it.
so would you say that Frodo is not a hero?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. Um, it, it,
So
he his his story, I think, was more about the burden of the ring and less about a hero's journey, but more about the burden of the story, about the burden of the ring. Because he's the one that had the greatest resistance from it. But you noticed everybody else had temptations, like right off the bat.
mhm.
Even Gandalf didn't dare touch it. Sam touched it for a little while, and he got to the point where just in his short little time holding it, he was ready to not give it back and fall to the desire of the ring. Where Frodo's overwhelming ability to resist the power of the ring, to resist using it, was extraordinary. Which automatically made him the linchpin of the whole thing. If he had not been able to resist the ring as much as he did, then it would have been a very different turnout. And it got them to Mount Doom. But in my opinion, like I said, Sam ended up being the better part of the hero's journey for the both of them, because Sam was the one that said, I can't carry it, but I can carry you, and I will carry you to the end. I will be there for you, and I will get you to the end of this. Even though I can't bear the ring myself, I will figure out a way to make this happen and get you there.
So, those of you that are watching, listening, let me be clear. Frodo is not my favorite character, so I'm not trying to defend him vehemently. I see him differently. But couple of comments here in the chat that I want to mention that are kind of the same.
Okay.
So Joy says he is a hero in a story of heroes, and then
oh no, I agree.
But this goes along with it.
Okay.
Is a hero, just not the hero. So
yes,
two ways to say the same thing. And we talked about this last week, that everybody in this movie, in this story, had a part to play, and the story would have ended differently. And like I said, we talked about this last week. The story would have ended differently, quite differently, with the absence of one of those characters and their story within the story.
Well, yeah, and you can go back to Fellowship of the Ring and you can look at it. They all brought something unique to the table. When it came to the Fellowship, they all brought something different. They all brought something unique to it. And I'm not advocating at all. Please don't think that Frodo is not a hero. I'm not saying he's not a hero. I'm simply speaking to his specific arc, or to his specific story arc. He is 100% a hero because he was able to resist the power of the ring. And that in and of itself was something that nobody else could do and was extraordinary. But in the end, it did change him. It did irreparable damage to him that he could never figure out. And the only way to resolve that, in my opinion, was he had to go to the Undying Lands where the elves went, so that way he could find peace. And that was the only way to purge all of that out of him. It does not mean that he's not a hero. He is 100% a hero.
So here's a question for both you and the chat. How do you think this story would have, how would the story had been different if somebody else were picked to carry the ring?
They wouldn't have never made it.
Okay.
I mean, that's my whole argument behind Frodo. They would have never made it if Frodo had not been the ring bearer, because they're the temptation of the ring. The temptation of the ring would have corrupted them long before they would have ever made it into Mount Doom and into the mountain itself. They would have never made it if it not had been for. And like I say, I dare say that the combination of not only Frodo and Sam making it, because there were even times during like the Two Towers where Frodo was ready to put the ring on and he was going to succumb to the Nazgul because of their influence. And Sam was the one to bring him back and to encourage him to keep him going. And that duo between the two of them is what kept them going, was what kept that motivation up. But if his resistance to the ring had not remained consistent, and somebody else had picked it up, because Boromir fell to it, Aragorn knew that he would fall to it, others knew they dare not touch the ring. Even Gandalf said, I can't touch it, I can't do anything with it, I would be too tempted to use it. Galadriel couldn't use it. Galadriel knew if she took it, she would succumb to the power of Sauron. They all knew, but they all knew that Frodo possessed this amazing ability to resist the ring and the ring itself. But even people like Galadriel, Gandalf, all of them knew that eventually it would still overcome him. And it would still reside, the influence of the ring would still reside within him, even as it did with Bilbo. Because even at the end, when they were going to the Undying Lands, Bilbo asked about his ring. Can I have, do you still have my ring? So, I mean, the influence was still there.
Yeah. No, I get you. I get where you're going with that. Um, Back to this idea of character evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've got a couple others off the top of my head that I can think of are Pippin and Mary. They start
Mm-hmm.
off as these goofy, like comic relief characters, really, and by the end of the story, they're like what? Oh man, what was Pippin called? He was a uh, I mean, they both
Um,
become like these warriors in a sense
yeah. Pippin ends up becoming basically a knight or a squire
of Gondor, yeah,
of
and then
Gondor,
the other
and
one becomes a knight of Rohan.
Rohan. Yeah, he becomes a steward. He becomes a rider of Rohan,
Right, right.
and and Mary ends up being a pivotal part of helping Erwin defeat, you know, to be a part of that, to defeat the Witch King.
Yeah,
He actually
yeah,
helps her. And uh, Pippin, he actually saved, in one part, he saved Gandalf from being stabbed from behind,
yeah,
which is awesome. And then at the end, I mean, the whole thing is that when they do the charge, is when Aragorn does the charge by himself, and then right behind him is Merry and Pippin, riding into battle. I mean, just running behind him, ready to fight, ready to stand, ready to do their thing. I mean, that right there is just a significant part of the story. They had a great story arc, and it's awesome to see that their evolution as characters are right up there in the top two.
Okay, so can you think of
Matthew,
not that Pippin,
yeah, wrong Pippin.
wrong Pippin. Can
Yeah.
you think of any other characters that went through some sort of evolution?
I think ones that we haven't mentioned, and kind of characters that we haven't come up with in there, and they have very small. Three that I can think of off the top of my head is Faramir. One of them is Faramir.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Faramir tries to do what he can for his father. He wants to make his father proud, but in the end, his father ends up going insane because he was actually, which is something you don't see, but he was being influenced by a Palantir as well, and he ends up going insane, and I think Faramir finds out, and I think he finally accepts the fact that his father was not his father. And I really kind of like the fact that we kind of get this idea that Faramir and Erwin actually, or not Eowyn, actually get together, and as far as I know, and I don't, I Joy or White Rabbit, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I knew from the movie and the lore of the movies, I believe Eowyn and Faramir are the ones who actually inherit the Rohirrim and the nation of Rohan, and they become a thing, and they do that. So Faramir's arc is really awesome. Eowyn's arc, awesome. Loved her as well. She was told that she stayed behind by even King Theoden. She was told to stay behind, and she didn't. And I'm extremely glad that she didn't, because if it hadn't have been for her, the Witch King would not have been defeated, and it could have changed the tide of the war. Unfortunately, she wasn't in time to save King Theoden, but I think that's great. They don't highlight in the movies, but the Faramir married Erwin in the books, and yeah, okay. So they do say that Faramir and Erwin, White Rabbit says Faramir and Eowyn do get married in the appendix. Okay, so that's awesome. Great, that's awesome. Um, another kind of two characters that I think that really we haven't talked about a heck of a lot, but I think their arcs kind of change a little bit too in the story, is that I think Erwin figures out that she's going to bear Aragorn's son, and she sees that as being enough, that even though Aragorn is not going to live to be the age that she does, that it's worth it because she's going to bear a child that will carry his name and carry on the legacy of Aragorn. And she convinces her father to reforge the sword and bring it to Aragorn, and he actually uses that moment to change his mind about the realm of men and bring them hope because
Mhm.
he thought the battle was hopeless, and so she convinces him, and he in turn orders the reforging of the sword. He takes it to Aragorn. Aragorn takes it and assumes his role of the king, and that's the last helpful piece of guidance that I think he gives that really turns things around. Because if it hadn't been for Aragorn going in and finding the army of the dead and bringing the army of the dead into the battle to finish off what was left of the Battle of Perrinal Fields, I don't think it would have been near as successful. I don't think
Oh yeah, I totally
they
forgot
definitely
about
would have
that
won.
phase.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't have won. The army of the dead coming into the battle and finishing that off, I think that was I mean that was a great scene as well. But that really solidified his place as king because he said you will answer to the king, and he pulled out the sword, and the sword they weren't able to take they weren't able to they actually were able to see that he was the king, and he was able to issue the proclamation to them: if you help us now, I will hold your oath fulfilled and you can rest in peace because I am the king. And he embraces that.
Mhm.
And so that's really from that point on, it's Aragorn the king. It's no longer Aragorn the Strider, the ranger. It's now
Right.
I'm king and I'm going to make this right. Follow me, I will make it right, and everything will be resolved. And that's exactly what happened. And
Yeah.
thank you to the army of the dead. They did exactly what they did. Now we also get one of the funniest moments in the Battle of Paranor Fields. And if you know what I'm talking about, or if you don't remember it, you will when I describe it. Is we still get in this movie at the beginning of it, we still get the banter between Legolas and Gimli when they jump off the boat. And Gimli says to Legolas, there's plenty for the both of us. May the best dwarf win. So they're still in competition with one another at
Yeah.
this point. And they get in there and they start the battle and everything's going on. And Legolas has this moment where he takes down one of the elephants, one of the battle elephants. And he drops down, he drops over the trunk, the elephant dies, he drops off right in front of the Gimli, and Gimli looks at him and says, but it still only counts as one. That's great. They're in the middle of this huge battle, and those two are still going at it, trying to have a competition. And then you get the moment where they look at each other and they say, and Legolas tells him, how about dying beside a friend? And Gimli acknowledges him as a friend and says, I can do that. I can die beside my friend. And it that I the banter between the two of them is so funny. I kind of almost wish in the movies we'd have gotten more of it.
Gotten what?
I almost wish we had gotten more of the banter between the two of them throughout the series.
Oh, okay.
Because it would have added such a comedic element, such a more of a fun, funny element to the story. But I mean, we got a lot, but I still almost wish we got more.
Yeah. So, Rabbit, I guess, are you talking about the dead people here? She's saying these were men who betrayed
Yes,
them during the.
yes.
Okay.
So they and I can't remember the name, and maybe White Rabbit or Joy can help me out with this, but they were a group of mountain dwelling people, and during the last alliance of men and elves, they were supposed to come when the king called to help battle at the
Oh,
Battle of
right.
Mordor. They didn't show up. They didn't fulfill their oath, so they were cursed to roam as the army of the dead
Yeah.
until they fulfilled their oath. When Aragorn went in there, he knew that, um, um, dang it, um, Erwin's father. Dang it, God dang it, it slipped my mind.
Elrond. No.
Um,
No. Uh. Damn it. Theoden.
No, not Theoden. Elrond. Jesus Christ. Elrond. When Elrond gave him the sword, Elrond knew that the only way they could positively win the battle was if he went to the army of the dead and asked them for their help and said and made sure that they knew that the pact would be made if they did it. He kind of knew that. And giving him the sword and making him be the king and 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 telling him the only way this was going to work is if he fulfilled his destiny was if he embraced that side of himself being the king. And then telling the army of the dead, I will hold your oath fulfilled if you fight with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was actually a pretty interesting part of the story now that I'm remembering it.
Mm-hmm. And we even get a funny part between Legolas and Gimli on that one too, where Aragorn charges in and then Legolas follows without saying anything, and then Gimli looks and says, "What's this? An elf will venture underground, but a dwarf will not? I'll never hear the end of this." And they go in. So it's a funny moment. It's a good moment between the two of them. I think it's great. And Legolas doesn't have to say anything, but Gimli's worried about it. So yeah, that was cool. That was a cool part.
All right. Anything else you can think of that we need to discuss?
I mean, we didn't talk much about Sam's fight with Shelob, the Spider Queen. We really didn't mention that a whole lot, but I think that kind of solidified part of Sam's story arc and his hero's journey as well. Is he faced this this immense threat, and he was able to come out okay. And he did possess the ring for a while, and he resisted it for a while. But I think in the end, he knew Frodo knew that he needed to give it up, and Sam, I think, ultimately he was able to resist just long enough to give it back. We don't talk much about Gollum or Smeagol's story. We know by the end of the Two Towers that Smeagol and Gollum or that Gollum has returned as Smeagol's alter ego, and we know that he's leading them into a dangerous spot, and that his unfortunately the tragic part of it is that he was so obsessed with the ring that it ultimately led to his doom. But
see, and this might be a hot take, and you and Rabbit and Joy might completely disagree with this, but based on, and again, this is based on the movie, not the books, because I don't know what happened in the books, but based on what I know about Gollum / Smeagol before the events of this movie, I have no empathy for the guy. He was already a dick.
They tried to turn him back, and we kind of get a little idea of the scene in the first of the movie, which is the extended editions. We get to see how Smeagol finds the ring, how it came into his possession, what it did to him.
Which
that
movie was
kind of
that
thing.
in?
That was in Return of the King. That was the very first part of Return of the King.
Okay, when he's at the river with his friend.
He's fishing with his brother, and his brother gets dragged in by a fish.
I thought it was
and
his
it was his brother. His brother finds the ring, and they both instantaneously become obsessed with it. And Smeagol, right out the gate, becomes so obsessed with the ring that he kills his own brother to possess it. And obviously, that not only highlights how bad the ring can influence somebody, but it also highlights how resistant to the ring Frodo really was.
Yeah.
Because he held it at first without even thinking that it was anything wrong with it. It wasn't until he got later down the road that he actually started to feel the power of the ring. He could feel what was wrong with it.
So Rabbit mentions that this was Gollum's redemption. What was Gollum's redemption?
And that may be true because the books might be different. The books may have shown it in a different light. As far as the
Right.
movie is concerned,
As
all
far as
we
the
see
movie
is
is
Frodo.
concerned,
Frodo and Gollum are fighting over it, literally over where he's supposed to throw it in. They're fighting over the possession of it. And the only reason that it went into the lava again was because Frodo and Sam both went over the edge. Frodo was able to catch himself, but Gollum was so obsessed with the ring that he kept it in his hand and died with it.
yeah.
Oh, Deagle. Oh, okay. White Rabbit says, so Smeagol was in the boat and Deagle was his cousin. So they weren't brothers, they were
Okay,
cousins.
so yeah,
My
okay,
bad.
so it was a cover.
My
But
bad.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is just books aside, because I know nothing about the books.
Me
Based
either.
on the
Yeah.
movie, based on the movie, he started out as a shitbag. So I mean,
He started out that way. I think Two Towers tried to bring him back, and then in the end, he just ended up being
yeah,
he
it
ended up. I mean, he
tried.
ended up. Yeah, he ended up being the corrupt. To Sam and Frodo, he ended up being the antagonist to both of them, just because of his obsession with
Yeah,
the ring. Not in
yeah,
his own. I mean, it's not his own fault. I mean, really, it's not. In a way, he's a very tragic villain because it corrupted him so badly that he not only created an alter ego, but he he didn't even have the forethought to save himself. He just wanted to go down with the ring. He just wanted to remove. He wanted to possess the ring so bad that he took it to the end, and he died. He died to possess it, and that's basically the only reason why the ring was destroyed, was because the two of them were fighting over the possession of it.
yeah,
In my opinion.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was any evolution of character on
Yeah.
Gollum's part.
And Rabbit says him destroying the ring, he fulfilled his purpose. I agree. But his his purpose was, as far as the movies was concerned, I felt like Smeagol's purpose was his overwhelming obsession and dedication to possessing the ring. It was just the fact that he just wanted the ring so bad.
Yeah,
And I didn't feel like, as far as the movies were concerned, I didn't feel like they highlighted the fact that Smeagol was actually the one who was going to destroy the ring or anything like that. Like there was any kind of destiny for Smeagol other than Smeagol just being the protagonist to Frodo and Sam's journey.
yeah.
Is really, really kind of how I look at it.
Antagonist.
Huh?
Did you mean antagonist?
Yeah, antagonist. Antagonist. Sorry, I'm excuse me, I misspoke.
Yeah.
The antagonist is to Frodo and
Wait,
Sam's
what
journey.
a minute. Wait a minute. Gollum was the protagonist? What the
No, antagonist. Excuse me,
That means
antagonist.
the
I'm
true
sorry.
hero of the story was Sauron.
No, excuse me. The antagonist to Frodo and Sam's story
Nope,
is really how I
I'm
looked at
sticking
it.
with that. Sauron was the hero.
Yeah.
And it was the tragedy of Sauron. No.
Yes.
Um,
The explosion was satisfying. That's all I have to
okay.
say.
So we did get to it finally, and we talked about Return of the King. Matt wants to know what we're talking about next week. I have no idea. What days are you going to be in Japan?
You would ask me that. Hang on a minute. Let me look at my calendar.
It's not in March, so
It's in April. It's
okay. It's in April. So yeah, okay. So April 29th is when we start our Andor recaps.
I will
So
be in Japan starting Monday the 14th through, and I think we come back on. We won't be back until the 24th
okay.
of April. Yeah.
So hypothetically, we may not have shows for 2 weeks unless we figure out.
I will look at, because I don't think there's days that we're actually going to be at Celebration. We're going to be doing just some fun stuff. And
We'll figure it out.
We'll see. We'll see what time it is in Japan and what time it is here, and see what I can work out for us.
No joy. No joy.
What you want part 2? Geez, no.
No.
Wow.
We still, I mean, I don't think we're ready for it for next week, but we still need to do our Firefly episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you know what we could do next week?
What? Oh God.
Private chat.
Oh, God.
Don't say anything about it. Do you want me to Discord it instead?
Did you? Oh yeah. No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. Yep. Okay.
We got a fun episode planned for next week, folks.
Yes. Stay tuned. We have a good one for next week.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, everybody in the chat room, thanks for coming in. Dina, Joy, Rabbit, Matt, Tina, Steve, Brian, everybody that was in the chat. I'm sure I'm missing people, but
we're probably yes. And once again, thank you so much for the interaction. We love the interaction that you guys bring.
Secret
the comments,
stuff,
secret squirrel stuff, 100%. We love the interaction. We love you guys coming in and commenting and helping. Especially, you guys that have actually had backgrounds and have read some of the stories, especially through this Lord of the Rings series. We so appreciate your feedback. We so appreciate you guys keeping us honest and your opinions and telling us how you think about it. We love that. Keep that interaction up. We love to see it. It's great having all of you in the chat, and please continue to come see us. Still up for next week's episode. I think a lot of you, I won't give a spoiler away. I'm sure Steve will give that away later. But next week's episode is going to be fun. So,
oh yeah. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do that. Thanks for tuning in, listening, hanging out with us. Thanks for listening if you're on the audio podcast, and hopefully you will come back next week. Yeah, Brian. Good night, dorks. You missed him, Matthew. You were off doing soccer practice, and that's not his name. His name is Nut. Anyway, so we'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging. Bye.